My name is Evan Clark, and for most of my life I held on to one simple belief. If you truly loved someone, deeply, wholeheartedly, they would feel it. They would never doubt you. That belief kept me grounded, patient, forgiving. It's what carried me through the messy moments with Lena, the woman I once imagined standing beside me at an altar. 3 years of shared memories made me think we understood each other better than anyone else ever could. But a single moment can pull the rug out from under everything you thought was solid. It happened on a quiet Saturday afternoon at a little cafe by the river, a place filled with warm yellow light and old wooden chairs that never matched but somehow belonged together. We used to go there when we first fell in love. It should have felt comforting, familiar, safe. Nothing about it warned me that everything was about to tilt. We walked in together, but we didn't feel like a couple. Not anymore. For weeks she'd been far away, always staring into her phone, always exhausted, always somewhere I couldn't follow. I kept telling myself it would pass. I wanted to believe it. I shouldn't have. We had barely sat down when a man stepped inside. Tall, self-assured. The kind of person who strides into a room like he owns the air. I had never seen him before, but Lena had. The change in her was instant. Her posture straightened. Her eyes lit up. And then she smiled. Not a polite hello. Not a casual oh hey. I know him kind of smile. A warm, glowing smile. The kind I hadn't seen directed at me in months. The kind that once made me feel like I was the only person who mattered. But in that instant, I wasn't. She looked at him like I had vanished, like the space between us had swallowed me whole. He noticed her and waved. She tucked her hair behind her ear, a small, shy gesture she used to do with me. And that was the moment something sharp and cold slid through my chest. Not jealousy. Not anger. Just devastating clarity. Clarity so sharp it felt like a blade. When she finally turned toward me, she didn't look guilty. She just looked surprised to find me sitting across from her, as if she'd forgotten I existed. Something inside me didn't shatter. It just cracked. Quietly. Permanently. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse her. I didn't demand answers. I simply stood, set my napkin on the table, and said, I'll give you space. I think you already took some. Then I walked toward the door. I had no idea where I was going. Home, my brother's place, anywhere but there. All I knew was that the man walking out wasn't the same one who walked in. That version of me had believed Lena was still the woman he'd fallen for. The man leaving understood she wasn't. The wind off the river hit me as I stepped outside. Cold, stinging, honest in a way she hadn't been. I was halfway down the steps when I heard her voice call my name. Soft. Unsteady. Afraid. Evan, wait. I stopped, but only barely. I didn't turn around until she reached me and grabbed my arm. Not to control me, but like someone reaching for something solid while slipping. Please, she breathed. Don't leave. You don't understand. I turned, expecting excuses or some rushed lie. But what I saw instead was fear. Deep, bone-level fear. Her hands trembled. Her lips shook like she was forcing herself not to fall apart. People walking by slowed, drawn by the tension thickening the air. Lena, I said quietly, if you don't want to be with me anymore, just tell me. You don't have to smile at someone else to make your point. She shook her head so hard it looked painful. No, that's not it. You saw something, but you didn't see everything. I had reached the limit of what I could pretend not to feel. Then tell me what I missed. Her breath shuddered out of her. She looked back toward the cafe windows as if expecting that man to appear behind the glass at any second. That man, Evan, she whispered, voice cracking. He's not who you think he is. I didn't smile at him because I wanted to. I smiled because I was terrified not to. Her eyes darted nervously, the color draining from her face. Here's why I've been distant. And if I don't tell you the truth now, I don't know what might happen. She swallowed hard, then whispered like the name itself hurt her. His name is Mason Hale. We went to the same university, but he wasn't someone I ever chose to know. I smiled at him today because the last time I didn't. He trailed me home. I stared at her, my anger fading into a tight, uneasy confusion. What are you talking about? She swallowed, her voice splintering. In my second year of college, I was walking back to my dorm late. He cornered me behind the library. He kept insisting he knew me, that he could fix me, that someone like him was exactly what I needed. I didn't even understand what he was talking about. I told him I didn't know who he was, and he just laughed, like it didn't matter. Her fingers were freezing when she gripped my sleeve. I tried to leave, but he grabbed my arm. A security guard showed up and he let go before it got worse. Or at least I thought that was the end. Something cold settled in my stomach as she kept talking, the words rushing out like she'd been holding them back for years. I reported him. I did everything they tell you to do. They said they'd investigate. They didn't. Then he started waiting outside my dorm, smiling at me in this really wrong way. Like he knew something I didn't. Eventually he transferred to another program, and I stopped seeing him. I hoped it was over. Her voice trembled harder. But 3 weeks ago, I walked out of the grocery store, and he was standing next to my car. He didn't touch me, didn't say anything inappropriate. He just smiled and said, "Still pretending you don't remember me." Then he told me he lived nearby now, that he'd been hoping we'd run into each other. A chill crept up my spine. "That's why you've been pulling away," I said quietly. She nodded, tears finally spilling. "I didn't know how to tell you without sounding paranoid or weak. I kept thinking maybe he wasn't dangerous this time, that I was blowing it out of proportion. But when he walked into that cafe today, everything inside me just froze. I smiled because I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't. Not because I wanted to, not because he means anything." I glanced back through the cafe window. Mason was ordering something, completely oblivious to the emotional wreckage he'd stirred up. My pulse hammered. My anger shifted, not toward Lena anymore, but toward the man who had forced himself into her life like a shadow that wouldn't leave. "You should have told me," I said softly, not accusing, just waited with everything she'd been carrying alone. "I know," she whispered. "I was scared you'd think I was making it up, or overreacting. I didn't want you worrying. I didn't want to drag you into something ugly." I took a slow breath, trying to take it all in. "Lena, you're not a burden. And you don't have to protect me from the truth. That's not how this works." She wiped her wet cheeks with shaking hands. People passing by kept glancing over, sensing something raw happening between us. I stepped closer, shielding her from their curious looks. "Evan," she murmured, voice barely holding together. "I tried to deal with it, but when you walked away earlier, I panicked. Because he doesn't get to take anything else from me. Not my peace. Not my life. Not you. Please believe me, I never wanted him, never encouraged him, and I never stopped choosing you." There was something painfully honest in her eyes. Fear, yes, but also a deep, aching sincerity. I didn't speak right away. My heart still stung from what I thought I had seen in the cafe. But now everything looked different. Messier, heavier, far more human than betrayal. I took her hands gently. "You're not alone, Lena. Not anymore." A quiet, relieved sob slipped from her as she leaned into me, like she was finally allowed to breathe again. Then she whispered something I wasn't prepared for. "He followed me again last week. He told me, you won't be with him forever. You'll see." "Evan, I think he's not done." My jaw tightened. The idea of this man stalking her life, feeding off her fear, lit something determined and fierce inside me. "We're going to deal with this," I said. "Together. Not by running, not by pretending it's nothing, by making sure he never gets to scare you again." She looked up, hope flickering through her fear. "Promise?" "I promise. We'll go to the police, get campus security records, whatever it takes. He doesn't get to control your life anymore." Inside the cafe, Mason shifted, scanning the room. He still hadn't spotted us. But this time, it didn't matter. Lena squeezed my hand, her grip steadier than before. Not strong yet, but steady, like she was slowly stitching her courage back together. And for the first time since this began, I felt clarity. Some smiles are born from love. Some hide something broken. And some are worn because fear leaves no choice. Lena's smile in that cafe wasn't a betrayal, it was a plea for help. And now that I finally understood, I wasn't going anywhere.